Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of the Don Lemon Show. I'm so happy that you're here. But how did we get here? I mean, the times that we're in. How did we find ourselves in the midst of a second turbulent Trump term? How did America willingly submit to all this constitutional chaos? Well, I ask myself those questions every single day, almost every single moment, and I never really have the answers for it. But I know who might have them, and that is my next guest. He is Mr. Michael Wolff. He's a veteran journalist, New York Times best-selling author. He has been a regular columnist for Vanity Fair, The Hollywood Reporter, USA Today, and The Guardian. He has written 7 books, including his latest bombshell, All or Nothing: How Trump Recaptured America. Michael, thank you very much for joining us. Your latest book is phenomenal.
Great. So nice to see you.
Yeah. Look, it is phenomenal, and it's yet another New York Times bestseller. But if you only watch cable news, you wouldn't even know it's out there. Last week, you penned a column for The Hollywood Reporter and alleged that you have been blacklisted by the networks. Why do you think that's the case? And then we'll talk about some of the specifics of your book in a minute.
Well, I think Donald Trump is a threat. He's a threat to anyone he wants to threaten, and obviously, in the case of the media, he has been for many years now raring to take them on, and he now has essentially, if you're the news media is owned by very large media companies who have all kinds of regulatory issues. He has all kinds of regulatory power. Everybody is frightened. It's very simple.
Yeah. Did you happen to see it's, I should have prefaced it by saying this DOJ speech where he said that I think he said, let me see what he said here, that MSNBC and MSDNC, what they're doing is illegal. He said that newspapers are illegal and that they are all in collusion. And so he believes that they should be illegal. And perhaps, I'm not sure what that means for them. Yeah. But basically, I guess he wants to have them prosecuted.
Yeah, I mean, he wants, this is just to bring pressure. This is leverage. This is to get them to do what he wants. As a matter of fact, one of the people I speak to regularly in the White House told me the other day that there was a delegation from a major media company that had come down to the White House and wanted to know how do we get better relations. And they were very specifically told, look at the example of Amazon, where Jeff Bezos gave $40 million to Melania Trump to do a documentary. And they were told that there were other Trump children who might like network shows. And here's a list of Trump favored voices they'd like on the air.
Yeah. Look, I've heard through sources, and I think there's been some reporting that Donald Trump will watch the news, because he TiVos it, as they call it. He records all of it, DVRs it, and that he will call the network bosses or the shareholders and complain about specific stories and specific people at networks as a way to intimidate them. Have you heard that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Donald Trump is reflexively does 2 things: picks up the phone and complains about people. It doesn't matter what the context is, media, and anything. He is always on the phone and always complaining about somebody.
Yeah. Do you think CNN, MSNBC, and others, right? Because he just mentioned them specifically, and others, are they scared? Are they being silenced in some way by the Trump administration?
Yeah, no, they've been terrified. And remember, I mean, I think that this begins this particular reign of terror, which is different from the first administration, when I think they largely ignored him and profited off of his railing against them. But in this administration began with this settlement at ABC. Right. The president, Trump, had sued George Stephanopoulos and ABC. George Stephanopoulos had said that he had been found liable for rape in the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, when technically he had been found liable for sexual abuse, although the judge said in any, beyond the specifics of New York state law, one could interpret this as classically rape.
Mhm.
So they sued
And
over
he
this.
cited the Washington Post as well as reporting what the judge said. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing was just a preposterous thing. It is the kind of thing that news organizations always defend against, and regularly win. But ABC folded. They capitulated. They actually paid him $15 million. So I think that is the chill. That is the big chill.
When you said the regulatory things and their mergers and acquisitions, that really rings true. So then what does that mean for the media? And look, the media hasn't always been perfect. You have been very critical of the media. Remember, I was in legacy media, and you and I would come on. We'd have great conversations where we would agree or disagree, and then we left it all on the air and let the American people or whoever was watching sort of sort it out. Are you concerned at all about the influence that this administration may have on the media now, but just on journalism into the future? Because
Well, in the future, it's Donald Trump. You never know what's going to happen in the future here. But clearly, I mean, I think that we are in a moment, perhaps not as bad as the McCarthy era in the 1950s, but beginning to have lots. There are echoes here of that. Yes.
Yeah. So do you believe that you were canceled by these networks because of Donald Trump? Do you think
Yeah,
he specifically told them, or
I
just
think it's
because they're
just, I mean,
concerned?
listen, they don't have to have me on. I am not part of their organization. I'm just a guy who's written a book who they customarily have on. And notably, they did not at this moment in time. So it's an easy conclusion to draw, and they owe me nothing, and they certainly don't have to have me on. But it is it is a pretty strong indication that everybody's running scared. Everybody is looking very closely at this, and everybody is saying, if this specifically is going to antagonize the president of the United States, and this all happened they kind of canceled my schedule as soon as the president and his spokespeople started to tweet against me. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. What do you think of their response to you? Basically, they're saying, your reporting is inaccurate. I believe something like that, or it's hyperbolic, or etc. I wouldn't expect any,
Who is saying that?
meaning the White House.
Oh, well, they always say that. I mean, actually, they have it's a kind of boilerplate response. When the president attacked me, then we looked at the other attacks, and they were the same attacks that he leveled against me in 2016, but also the same attacks with the same words: peanut brain, Trump dysfunction. The same boilerplate he had leveled against Bob Woodward. This is, I mean, in other words, it completely lacks meaning. All it means is that we don't like you.
Yeah. We're speaking to the great Michael Wolff, the author of this brand new bombshell book. It's called All or Nothing: How Trump Recaptured America. I want to get to your reporting, some of the stuff that you have in the book, but do you have any new, because he went on this unhinged speech at the Department of Justice. Do you have any new reporting that you can share of the moment now before we get to the stuff that's in the book?
No, I don't specifically. I mean, I just think that it just continues the same pattern, and there are two patterns. He is always at all times unfiltered. If it comes into his mind, it comes out of his mouth, which is extraordinary for the president of the United States. And the other thing is that he's only interested in headlines. He rules by headlines. He lives by headlines. And that encourages him to be all the more unfiltered, because that's what gets headlines.
Yeah, I'm going to put this up because we were speaking about it, and I like to give the evidence of what he said. Here's a response that was written about you. So-called author Michael Wolff's new book is a total fake job, just like the other junk he wrote. He called many times trying to set up meetings, blah, blah, blah. Look, I remember doing Fire and Fury when I interviewed you. It seems like the exact same, as you said, boilerplate. It seems like the exact same response from him.
Yeah, which is always a Trump thing. Just repeat what you've said in the past. Repeat what you believe has always worked.
Yeah. So let's talk about the book. Get into the reporting. You said that J.D. Vance was far from Donald Trump's first pick to be vice president. In fact, you say he really wanted a female VP. How so?
Well, actually, I think more importantly, he kept pointing out to people, why do I need a vice president? Why do I really need a vice president? I don't need a vice president. And then they would, a lot of the people around him would recall that when he picked Mike Pence, and he was completely undecided about that, and minutes before he was going out on stage to introduce Pence, he said, hey, to his people, he said, can I choose somebody else? So this is just par for the course. He doesn't want to share the stage with anyone. And then afterwards, when Kamala Harris replaced Biden, then he kept saying, I should have had a woman. I should have had a woman. Why didn't you give me a woman? And that he actually had been given, as a suggestion, virtually every woman in the Republican Party. But then he said, "Well, but
Maria Bartiromo."
Yeah, but what about Maria Bartiromo? The tops of people's heads come off there. And then he went to this. There's a woman on Fox by the name of Harris Faulkner, a black woman, and he kept saying, why didn't we take her? That would have been incredible. A black woman named Harris.
Yeah, no way.
Yes, absolutely.
No, Michael. Are you kidding me? The Harris thing to me makes me laugh and is shocking, but considering all the people he's picked from Fox News and the media, that is not shocking. But she's a cable news anchor. She has no political experience.
Neither does Maria Bartiromo. But that's actually always, his thing is always to go, why haven't we picked someone on television?
He's obsessed with television and cable news, which is the reason I think that he, gave this unhinged speech. But he does appear to get all of his information from watching television rather than reading his briefing books and notes.
Yeah, no, I remember in the first administration when everybody was just trying to figure out this guy, and I was hanging around the White House, people in the inner circle who didn't know him very well, they would say, oh my God, he doesn't read anything. Really, nothing. And they said, and that's a problem, but that's compounded by the fact that he doesn't listen to anything. So there was no way to get information to him except to route it through cable television.
A black woman with Harris.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other shocking picks that you could think of? It is all shocking. That's one of the things about Donald Trump. Virtually everything out of his mouth becomes shocking. Why not? Why didn't he want J.D. Vance?
He didn't want J.D. Vance. There were a couple of things. He had supported J.D. Vance in the Senate race in Ohio because of a promise of money which never came. Peter Thiel had promised him $10 million to support J.D. Vance. And then Peter Thiel had not delivered on the money in the time-honored tradition of billionaires. So he was resentful about that, and then resentful about the fact, J.D. Vance has a long history of antipathy toward Donald Trump. I assume that is the real view of J.D. Vance.
J.D. comparing him to to
Yes,
Adolf,
exactly. To you
who.
know who. Yes, and I mean J.D. Vance is not a stupid man,
Yeah.
clearly, and I think he clearly understood Donald Trump, and then has clearly decided that Donald Trump is where the only place in the Republican Party where the bread is buttered, and he made that transformation of himself.
Everything is transactional. So what JD Vance did, this is shift towards being a never Trumper to being, I love you, Donald Trump, to hugging him. And it's also transactional as it relates to money. I mean, you mentioned Peter Thiel, $10 million, but let's talk about something that you write about in the book. And I believe it's a person. Did Elon Musk donate the most money to his campaign out of
Oh,
any?
by far and away.
So in the
Yes.
book, you detail how Trump is actually deeply disturbed, your reporting, by first buddy, that's a quote from you, Elon Musk. You report that Trump once asked, quote, "What the fuck is wrong with this guy?" Do you see this alliance lasting for the next 4 years? And then, so if he's gone from what the F is wrong with this guy to, now having him in charge of Doge, is it money? What is it?
Well, I think its usefulness right now. Elon Musk is the person out front. Elon Musk is taking most of the flack at this point in time. So very useful to Trump. But in terms of him lasting, no one has ever lasted. I mean, it's a crucial thing to understand. From the first administration, 100% of the people in that administration left humiliated, fired, indicted. It ended in tears for everyone.
Mhm.
Now, why that should be different this time? Well, it won't be different this time. I mean, I kind of look at the Musk thing. Musk is occupying the Bannon role from the first administration. I mean, they're both on the cover of Time magazine as the real president or the president's brain or whatever, and they're both the kind of official disruptor. And Bannon lasted for 6 months, and I'd say that's a pretty good measure for Elon.
Is Bannon, is he a bit jealous of their relationship? Because he is not an Elon fan right now.
Yeah, I would assume he is, and that probably explains some of his bile toward Elon.
Yeah. So how long do you think this lasts? Is there like maybe a couple 100 billion reasons that it will last, or
No, I don't think it lasts. I think 6 months tops.
6 months? Wow.
Yeah,
And you said
yeah,
Bannon lasted 6 months, right?
yeah,
And so you think
exactly. I mean, I think that's going the distance with
that,
Donald Trump.
and then how does that end then? How do you end that if you're Trump?
Yeah, probably ends with a post on Truth Social.
Wow. You have great reporting on how Trump reacted to his attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania. You say it was far more affected by it than many folks realize, and you go deep about this. What is
Yeah,
it?
no, I mean, I think it's, and reasonably so. I mean, he was almost killed. And there was a period of several weeks in which his staff was worried about him.
Mm. And
I
what?
mean, you might say the larger headline is that he actually recovered from this.
Yeah.
Where I think most of us would have said, okay, this is, to be that kind of trauma would have been, I think is something that you probably, for most of us, we don't recover from that.
So what was the evidence in? Was there behavior? Did he voice it? Was he, in tears, or what?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it was behavior. It was them, people looking at him. I mean, there was actually a lot of discussion in the inner circle about Trump at the convention, and he, in one of the reasons that the staff thought that there had been a change here is that they found him listening to people. Instead of the usual motor mouth in which he listens to no one, suddenly there he was, composed and letting people talk to him. And that rattled the people around him. I mean, that's interesting because they are otherwise deeply rattled by the fact that he listens to no one.
Yeah.
But suddenly he was listening to someone, and they're saying, "Oh my God, what's wrong with him?"
Yeah. Recently, the Trump administration, AG Pam Bondi in particular, has received a boatload of criticism for how it handled the so-called Epstein files. Why wasn't there more transparency around Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes? Does it have anything to do with Donald Trump's history with Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, one can only speculate, but I mean, I've done a lot of reporting on the Epstein case, including there's sort of I did a series of extended interviews with Epstein over from 2014 till he died, including having Epstein on the record talking about his long friendship with Donald Trump. I mean, truly BFF stuff for a long period of time. And I would say, certainly Epstein was one of Trump's closest friends in life. So what does that tell us? It certainly indicates, and I think all of the evidence indicates that this is a hot button for Donald Trump. He's very careful to distance himself from that relationship.
Michael, are you concerned at all? I don't know if it's for safety or not necessarily for that, but for him, he went after the news organizations. He goes after people. He's very litigious. Are you concerned about that at all? That he's going to try to somehow silence you, sue you into oblivion?
Well, yeah, I mean, being sued into oblivion is obviously a threat. But I mean, I have a good publisher behind me. So I'm pretty secure in that. I mean, when the White House, somebody from the White House called me up just a day or so before the book was published, as it started to leak out, and they called to threaten me, and I was like, okay, and then I said, what are you going to do? Block my merger? I mean, there isn't much. I mean, you could sue me. And then, as I say, I have a supportive publisher, but
they threatened you.
Well, they threatened me in that way that you're going. I mean, there was a kind of litany of you're not going to get onto television because you know what happened in the Stephanopoulos case, and you know that CBS is negotiating with us now over the Harris 60 Minutes interview, essentially saying what's obvious, that the networks are scared.
So you've been going up to non-traditional media places, kind of like what he did during the campaign. I think that it's actually been good for you. So do you have any advice, or what do you think about independent media, the support for independent media? And after that, do you think he's going to start coming after some of the streamers, some of the independent folks, because they're not pulling punches where the networks might be doing it, not allowing people like you on?
Yeah, I mean, what he does is largely random. I mean, it's largely what comes in front of his face. If it doesn't come in front of his face, he doesn't see it, then he doesn't know. There's no program here, no overall plan. There's just offense taken. Does he know that we're doing this conversation right now? Will he know? Probably not. Were he to know, what would he do? He might, he would, you might get an attack, the horrible Don Lemon. And that might be, that it is as likely that would be helpful. I mean, when he attacked me, when he put out that post, somebody in the White House immediately sent me the link and said, "You're welcome!" exclamation point.
Anything before we finish this conversation? Anything that you wish you had put in the book or that has come out afterwards that you wish had been in there? Anything like that, Mr. Michael?
No, I think I got pretty much, I got it in.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Any advice to America? Because you've been through you know what's going on. Buckle up.
Yeah, it's buckle up, wait it out. I mean, Trump can't last forever, and there is no one to replace him.
Yeah. Michael Wolff, the book is called All or Nothing: How Trump Recaptured America. Fantastic read. I would encourage everyone to get a copy of it. Michael Wolff, thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you. See you soon.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.